Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello everyone, good evening. So today is Saturday 23rd, Saturday 23rd of May 2020. As usual, I'm here with you tonight to be a part of your day. Apologies for a few minutes late today. We have been working and rearranging this room. That's why you can see the Buddha, a big Buddha. Now it's inside. So hi everyone. Hi Margaret. Hi Manish. Hi Colin. And hi everyone. So first of all, thank you very much, Colin, for your feedback and story that when you were a novice monk in Thailand and how much work you had to do in relation to be a monk. Once you become a monk, it doesn't mean that you don't have any responsibilities. And it was nice to hear Colin's story that after he became a novice for a couple of days, I think about 2 weeks, and shared his experience living in a monastery and able to help cleaning and working in the monastery. And cleaning, again, it's a part of a daily routine, and he reflected it in a way that to purify or cleaning the mind itself. And I can relate that very much with that story, because last year I was also living in a forest monastery and stayed 3 months training there, and all the activities I had to join with cleaning and even the constructions and things. So Colin, thank you very much for your lovely story. So hi Sarala, hi Jitu Solanki. So yes, thank you very much, Colin, for your reflection in relation to last night's talk about monks working in different ways. Okay. So today again, Saturday, so another just a couple of days left in Scotland that we will be sort of free, that you can go around and visit your one family at least. So this is in 1 week time, you will be able to join with that. And again, days are not certain, it's always changing. And meanwhile, at the center, our work increasing now, since the working in a barn is smoothly going on, and also some of the tools we have already broke as we work. And still waiting to order all the materials, and so we can have it done as soon as possible. So, and it's a monk's life, yeah. When we look at the Buddha's teachings, his teachings we can study in 3 ways. First is called the pariyatti. So study of the scriptures or listening the talks. It's simply expanding our understanding about the Buddha's teachings, how he taught and how he instructed, and what are the philosophy of the Buddha. And this, all the teachings, majority of them are compiled so-called in a Tipitaka, or the book so-called Buddhist canon. And this is the first way of accumulating a knowledge about the Buddhism. It's called pariyatti, and so also known as education. And the second, patipatti, and that's an investigation. The things that we have studied and we analyze by thinking that this is right or this is not right, and this is how I normally take it as changing the perception. And this changing perception is based on what we have heard, what we have listened, and come to conclusion in line with the knowledge or other science or other technologies combining and helping to understand more. And as a scientific discoveries known as the this come from the patipatti. And there's a third way of acquiring a knowledge. It's called the bhavana panya. So wisdom acquired from the bhavana, or the development by self training. It is not like a scientist or the science works. We are experimenting in the lab, and after experimenting different elements and different situations and then different medicines, and we come a conclusion, and that's how it is known as the science. But whereas bhavanamaya panya is not related to anything else apart from our own body and the mind. And this bhavanamaya panya is known as the real wisdom in Buddhism. And this bhavanamaya panya, in order to have it, so-called meditation is introduced. And the practice of a meditation, in a way, is the key or essential part of a Buddhist studies. We may study scriptures and we may listen so many teachers acquiring a knowledge about the Buddha and the Buddhism, and also we may think and analyze with comparing with the scientific discoveries or other religion or other faiths or our daily experiences, and then we come to conclusion. That's the second knowledge. But these are knowledges only to help us to be comfortable, to have a comfortable life in this life. And whereas the bhavanamaya panya is something that we dive into insight and realize from a true understanding. And this bhavanamaya panya, that's why is the main purpose of a Buddha's teachings. As long as we do not practice in accordance with what we have heard or what we have read, then that's still regarded as the philosophy. It's not the teachings of the Buddha yet in a form for the benefit and happiness of ourselves. So that's why in Buddhism, meditation being the main key or essential part of the study. And once we have studied Buddha's teachings or philosophy for some times, or even just for a few doctrines, and if we apply it into our life and practice it properly, then we regard it as the true Buddhists. And that brings the great happiness and great benefit towards ourselves, and then that also help to other community, those who are around us too. So the bhavana or this practice is highly regarded as the greatest in the study of the Buddhism. That's why you can see that the Buddhist meditation is all around, and even modern secular mindfulness, it's becoming a multi-million business, and particularly since this corona COVID-19, you can see that hundreds of websites and hundreds of programs running from different organizations in a form of a secular as well as spiritual meditation guidance. And these again, more or less, or somehow at the end, they will again rely on a Buddhist scriptures and knowledge from the Buddha. And when we look at the teachings of the Buddha in relation to the meditation, there are again so many instructions that we can find. Like the second book called the Majjhima Nikaya, probably 90% of the suttas, which has got 152 suttas, 92% of those suttas are related to the meditation and talking in different ways and explaining, instructing in different forms. And there is another scripture called the Anguttara Nikaya, and again that is most of the teachings are also regarded as supporting the practice of a meditation. And there in same way there is a Samyutta Nikaya, in that collected book, and it has got some groups of teachings that directly related to the practice of a meditation. So that's why the practice of a meditation is the major topic in Buddhist studies. But nevertheless, we can hear two very famous suttas, that is discourses. That is, the one is Satipatthana, or the four foundations of mindfulness, and another one is Anapanasati. And this Anapanasati or this Satipatthana, these two discourses are again interrelated. The Satipatthana is basically it's a general that everyone can practice, and it's very broad, easy to follow, and it's a very clear-cut instructions are given. We don't need to think too much apart from just read it and follow the instructions. And whereas the Anapanasati is the sutta or discourse that directly linked and directly related to the breath alone, and developing the awareness and developing the knowledge from there. But again, doesn't matter which technique or which method we are using, there is something we have to remember, that the practice of a Satipatthana Sutta or the Anapanasati is simply to collect our mind to the present moment, to ourself, to body and the mind, and to simply reconnecting or uniting this mind that normally thinks of the past and always worrying about the future, rather than aware of the present moment and aware of even our own physical body. So that's why practice of a meditation is simply to connect, an ability to be aware of our body, our feelings, the way our mind works, and understanding that everything that we observe are subject to change. And the reason behind as the practice, this four foundations of a mindfulness or the meditation, is to reunite with the present moment, or being in the present moment, is simply a foundation ground that we have to develop. And this foundation ground, once we have developed this foundation, and after that, what we will realize that our mind is so tricky. Our mind is so vulnerable, and also it's very hard to tame. And that moment, because we have spent so much time practicing aware of the breath, aware of the body, aware of the sensation, aware of the mind, then we gradually able to see our own mind, that how much defilements that we have in our mind. And that's related to the last night's talk, that how much our mind been deluded and became so dark. And that we will be able to realize after we have been meditating and connecting in the present moment. And that moment, once we so connected, we will be able to realize that this mind has got so much darkness. And this mind, once we have known it, what is the most obvious things that we will see first thing is that any unwholesome or negative thoughts that prevails in our mind. ability to know that. Now we will be able to see that, oh, the behaviors that I have been doing or the thoughts that I normally engage with, these are not the good ones. These are unwholesome thoughts, and I shouldn't be bringing it. So whenever the negative thoughts comes, it's simply the first, because of we have been practicing this foundation ground, and our foundation becomes so strong in these 4 foundations of mindfulness, we see as soon as these negative thoughts arises, as soon as these unwholesome thoughts arises, unwholesome activities when it's activated, we immediately able to know that. And this is what I normally call, the simile came from when I saw the signpost for the bikers. It says, think and think and think twice before you turn. Yeah. So thinking again and again, whenever there is negative comes, able to catch it at the very moment, and this mind becomes that much sharper. As soon as it arises, the negative thoughts, you will be able to catch it immediately and able to bin it. So that's the first principle or first factor that we have to develop, is to prevent, and we will be able to prevent from any negative thoughts that never has been in our mind. We will be preventing arising it anymore. And this is what is a very important part, and this is the first teachings as well, that not to do any evils. And what here, not to do any evils, and we will not be doing any evil things or any unwholesome things or any bad things, because our mind, we are connected and we know how our mind works, and we will not be going along with the mind and feeding this desire anymore. So we will be able to prevent from acting or developing this negative thoughts or bad actions that is going to be carried out. So this is the first thing, the prevention from arising of any negative thoughts. We will be able to contemplate on that. And the second, that any negative thoughts or any negative things or emotions that we already have inside us and that's bothering us, we will be able to notice that, and we will be able to let it go. And this normally I relate to learning to give a dana, or the generosity. In Buddhism, generosity is taught as the fundamental teachings for the householders. And that is simpler because being a householder, we have a possessiveness, and letting go is difficult. So the part of the practice of a giving in Buddhism is simply teaching us to let go of goods, and later on ability to let go of our emotions. I think I have spoken this one of the nights about the dana. So that's why the second phase is to ability to let go of our emotions, and this is the second principle or the Dhamma that we can see as our mind becomes so connected with ourself. And that is simply any negative thoughts or any unwholesome things that we have, we're simply abandoning it, abandoning from having it inside in our minds and our heart. And that simply, once we have abandoned any unwholesome or negative thoughts or negative behaviors from ourselves, and that basically bringing the positivity in us. I think in general we normally think of the positive, but we never try to let go of negativity. And there is a famous example given in Thailand that people will go to make merits in a temple once in a while, but they will be not developing or abandoning any unwholesome for the rest of the year. And then in that way you are attached to one day of doing good, but 364 or 65 days of doing a bad thing. So, and the later monks are simply giving instructions. The instructions are simply saying that you better get rid of or abandon all the bad things. Then you do not have to think of doing the good things. The good things already generated. And that's the third one. The third principle that we have to develop, we will be able to develop since we are so connected within our mind and our hearts. And that is development of any positive thoughts or wholesome actions, wholesome activities. And it's very easy to see, in particular if you have been practicing meditation and you have achieved some form of calmness and peace and serenity, then it's very easy to go back and practice and developing the wholesome thoughts. And again, as I said yesterday, even just the flicking moment of generating this loving kindness, pursue of the loving kindness, developing of the loving kindness, and attending with the loving kindness. So these will be developing slowly in our minds and our heart. And the last bit is that once we have developed these wholesome thoughts, and positive thoughts, and kindness and compassion towards one another, being kind to one another, and sympathy, empathy, developing and understanding their sufferings and these things. Once we have developed in us, what we need to do is to maintain that quality, and maintaining that the achievement. So that's why in the practice of a meditation we are always encouraged to maintain the quality. It's not how long or how many years you've been meditating, but it's a quality that we have achieved and able to maintain that quality for a longer period of time. And maintaining that defines that how much we have developed in our practice. So this is known as the effort of exertion. Okay, the effort to prevent from arising any unwholesome thoughts or negative thoughts, and then abandoning any negative or unwholesome thoughts that we already have, or unwholesome behaviors or bad behaviors that we have, able to abandon it. And any good things that we haven't done or we haven't understood that, and gradually we are developing that good things in our minds and our heart. And whatever good things that we have developed, we put an effort to maintain that good things continue, and this continuation of maintaining these good things always brings peace and happiness. In the Dhammapada there is one discourse, one stanza called Punyance Puriso Kaira Thena Punha Punha Tamhi Chanda Kahirata Sukho Punyasa Vachayo, which means that once we have developed doing good things, even the very little things, maybe smile to one another, maybe giving give something to other people, like even the driving a car, you can let someone go first, you don't have to rush. So these are little things, or even the sharing a thought, good thoughts, or sharing your food in this time, like in COVID-19 time, so many people, hundreds and thousands of people are suffering. In that time, although you cannot do anything, at least of a little good things that you can start off doing. And once you have done that good things, maintaining that good qualities that you have developed. So, and that is the form that we will be able to see in our minds and our heart. And that only we can see because with the practice of a foundation of four foundations of mindfulness, our mind became with us, and our mind is with us, and we are attending to this mind so much, and always we are attending to this mind, that whether this mind has a greed or a hatred or delusion or ignorance in that. And slowly we see that every moment when this mind generates negative thoughts, that moment we realize that this is a negative one. Now I need to abandon, or I need to prevent from arising it again, and then abandoning it. And then again, when we are meditating like that, we will be attending these mental qualities, mental action. And not only that, whatever we do physically and whatever we say, again, thinking so many times, we will be thinking more and more before we saying it. For myself these days, again, whenever I have to say something, or even to instruct someone, or even to guide someone, I'm thinking quite a lot which way, how I'm going to express it, and which will make them understand and not misunderstood, and not create conflicts, like that. So these things gradually we will be able to understand, and that's simply because we are attending this mind pretty much. And that's why practice of a meditation, or the practice of a mindfulness meditation, is to be mindful of every step, every moment, that how our mind is working, how our mind is dealing, how our mind is relating to the things. And this way we will be able to see these state of the mind, good or bad, and able to understand and develop more and more good things, and maintaining that good qualities in us. Okay, so that is the second phase of the practice of a meditation, which we have to understand. In a general, people may think that practice of a meditation is, 4 foundations of mindfulness is enough. In fact, there are more that we have to develop, and that is the second phase, is to able to rectify these two minds, wholesome action and unwholesome action. And if there is unwholesome action, then preventing from arising, and then abandoning what's been already aroused, and then developing any wholesome things that is not a reason. So, and then maintaining any wholesome thoughts or positive thoughts that's been developed. So that is the second thing that we have to understand. So I offer this as a tonight's reflection, and in shortly we will have a chanting and guided meditation. So stay tuning in. If not, and then see you tomorrow at 6:30. And with this, may you be happy, peaceful, and grow in the Dhamma. May you be blessed. Take care and good night.